Welcome back to the Real Estate 401k Show, and your host, Mike Weinstein, alongside Justin Frederick and Ryan Gerdes. You're going to want to text the word STORY to 623-AZ-RECON. That's STORY to 623-AZ-RECON. Fridays, we always talk about stories and how we're helping our podcast listeners and our clients specifically to navigate, different investment or purchase or selling situations. And in addition, we're going to tell you some of our favorite things to do in Arizona. So text the word STORY to 623-AZ-RECON. Who wants to go first?
I'll go.
Okay, go for it. Story time.
So this isn't necessarily a win yet, but it's definitely something that you may or may not have considered when it comes to purchasing or selling real estate. But a few months ago, we helped this lovely couple buy a home, and the home is on Septic. And when the inspection was done on the septic system failed. Now, in the state of Arizona, it is the seller's responsibility to not only inspect it, but to make sure that it passes inspection. They call it an ADEQ report. So it failed, and it needed a whole new septic system. Sometimes all they need is just some repairs, but this one was pretty big. Buyer and seller were very motivated to get the thing closed as soon as possible because, well, all the reasons why people want to close fast, right? So I said, all right, well, we can do that, but the septic's not going to be replaced in time because it takes time, it takes a month or two in order to get it all scheduled out and then get the actual work done and then get an inspector out there to tag it, backfill it, make sure it's all good to go. It's a process, and it doesn't happen overnight. So they said, that's fine. We're going to do what's called an escrow holdback. Escrow holdback is when generally a title company will hold on to funds that were due to the seller and put it into an account, and the buyer can use those funds to pay the contractor or the septic company directly in order to get the work done. So we came to an agreement on it. We got pricing from it. Everything was put in place. We closed on the transaction. Septic company went over there and said, you know what, we have everything done, but we can't finish a certain element of work because there's additional damages that were done that were not on the scope because we couldn't see it because, well, septic tanks are underground, and you don't get to see what's going on with every little bit of it until you unearth it, until you do all your excavating. So more work means more money. Well, there's only a certain amount of money put into that account in order to pay for that. So what we generally do is we pad it. So let's say the work is $30,000. Then we would do more like $45,000 into the escrow holdback, which is what we did. And so now we're at a point where we went to the seller or the previous owner and said, hey, look, there's significantly more work to be done here. So we need to release additional funds from what the $30,000, which was what the original scope of work was. Right. So it's never a fun conversation when if you're expecting to get $15,000 and someone calls you up and says, hey, actually, you're not, then it's always not the most fun conversation, but that's what we're navigating right now, and it looks like we're all on the up and up with it. But it is something that you should know before you walk into an escrow holdback as a buyer or a seller, that things aren't always what you had actually drawn up, and you can get some curveballs thrown after you even after the fact. It's not over until they've gone over there and stamped it. So,
well, I think too with the escrow holdback of how many people out there because something popped up on an inspection report, and both buyer and seller, or buyer just walks away because and both agents aren't as familiar with escrow holdbacks. How many deals could have been held together just understanding a lot of the tricks, a lot of the strategies out there, but just simply with escrow holdbacks? There's a lot of people out there that lost their dream home because they didn't understand that the seller can do an escrow holdback with the title company.
And I'm not necessarily a big fan of escrow holdbacks. No, I'd rather avoid them at all costs, right. But buyer and seller really wanted to work through it.
It's a great tool, though, for sure, to have in many cases.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I love those.
Yeah, there's a little story for you.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
All right.
Mine is it was a turn down from a new build. I had a veteran and his young wife who's 9 months pregnant, due any day, came to me last week, and the new build lender turned them down. They were trying to buy a home as under a VA loan, and they found his income wouldn't qualify. So sent the loan over to me and started looking at the loan, and I noticed that the earnest deposit came from somebody else, and I said, "Hey, what's this earnest deposit? Why didn't it come from you guys?" "Oh, it's from my grandparents. They're going to be moving in with us." And I said, "All right. Well, let's end. Are they going to be living with you for a while?" "Yeah, they're going to be living with us indefinitely." I said, "Wonderful. Do you want them on the title, or do you not want them on the title?" We don't want them on the title." "Okay, so we're going to make them a co-signer. We'll bring them in, but we can't do a VA loan." They were going to put down a down payment anyway, so I don't know why the new build lender didn't look at this.
Something fishy going on there.
No, because a VA loan won't allow for anybody other than the spouse, so I just don't think the new build lender even thought of it.
Right.
So put the grandparents on the loan with them as co-signers, so they're not even on the deed, so they don't have ownership interest, but they're liable for the mortgage. Closed the deal in 8 days. They just closed today. So yeah, that was a huge win.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
bro.
it was really cool. And I got the new build to give me all the more incentives than they were given with their lenders. So ended up giving them a better interest rate and got all of their closing costs covered. So it was huge. It was really cool.
Well done.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so mine's not necessarily a specific story, but it's more of part of our value proposition. I was thinking about it. I think over the last 2.5 weeks, because we emphasize in helping people build wealth in real estate, we attract people from all over the country, and a lot of our listeners are from different parts of the country. And then we have a lot of people, especially with our relationship at Luke Air Force Base, we have people going to other parts of the country. And when you're our peeps, you're our peeps. When you're our people, you're our people. We want to take care of you wherever you're going. And we always talk about our International Team Referral Alliance. And I think between the two of us, Ryan, we have sent in the last 2.5 weeks 4 clients to awesome agents in different parts of the country. 2 California, 1 Colorado, and I think you sent 1 to Wisconsin, and introducing them to our partners out there. And Justin's about to get the 3rd loan because Justin does loans all over the country as well, which I love.
We did another one to Ohio.
Oh, okay, Ohio.
Yeah.
So 5. And
Minnesota. Minnesota was another one.
Okay, well, more than I know.
Yeah.
They're all over the map.
But that's what's great. That's what makes it such a great resource. And I love it when I can, if we have a relationship with someone here and they're moving to a different part of the country, we're not going to be the licensed real estate agent. We're going to send them to somebody that we trust, somebody that we've vetted. But I love it when Justin's still the loan officer, because we know that like your story, that that agent out there don't want to introduce him to some knucklehead loan officer that doesn't understand things. So so it's just a good story for it's just all of our people just reaching out, going, "Hey, I'm moving, going here. Can you help me find somebody out there in a different part of the country?"
That's good.
Yeah.
Well done, buddy.
That's really good.
All right, go ahead and text the word STORY to 623-AZ-RECON, regardless of whatever your real estate needs are. We would love to sit down and help you build that strategy. Again, text the word STORY to 623-AZ-RECON. All right, so it's Friday favorites. Is it your turn, Ryan?
Yep.
All right, Dirty,
Yep.
what's up?
All right. So I hate to disappoint you, but this one has nothing to do with food. So
He'll find a way to make it about
yeah.
food.
Yeah, he'll figure it out. Watch.
I already got it.
Yeah, I know
already
you
got
do.
it.
I know you do. Arizona just has so many different types of cool landscapes and different drives out there. And so I was just sitting here thinking, like particularly with summer coming up, or whatever, just something to do. And what's the best drive, whether it's here in town or anywhere in the state, where you like to go because, I don't know, maybe you just like the drive, or you think it's beautiful, or maybe it reminds you of your childhood, whatever. So that being said, Mike, I'm gonna let you go first, buddy.
Oh man, obviously the drive into Sedona never gets old. But for me, it's just obviously I've got my family. We've got a place up in Pine Top, And I remember the first time, like 20 some odd years, no, this was before I was even married, maybe like 30 some odd years ago. I'd spent a couple summers out here, and our friends were like, "Hey, we're going up to such and such to stay at our cabin this weekend. You want to go?" And we went up there, and we started going up the mountain. I'm like, "What are those tall things?" I thought this is the desert. A lot of people don't realize that the White Mountains in that area is one of the largest growth of ponderosa pines in the nation. So I love when you're going up the beeline, you make a right in Payson, and you get past Payson, because I'm not a huge fan of Payson, but we can talk about food. My favorite place to stop in Payson on the way up to my favorite drive.
Yeah.
No,
But pray tell.
yeah, no, but once you get past Payson and Starfire, and you go all the way up, and it's just now all tall pine trees, and the rim, the views of the rim. I don't know. It's just it never gets old for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Justin, how about you, buddy?
All right. So you mentioned Sedona, and I mean, this is kind of a four-wheel road, but I like Schnebly Hill Road. I really love the views there. It's just a nice little cruise. It's only a 13-mile stretch, but you're going pretty slow because it's rocky. I mean, I've seen people take cars up it, but really you'd want at least a truck to go up it.
We've been back there all the time in college.
Yeah, it's great. A lot of mountain biking happens around there. There's
He's
rivers.
probably got some buried beer cans up there.
Probably. I said
More than
rivers.
that.
There's little creeks that run through it too. It's just beautiful. You're going from Sedona, Red Rocks, all the way up on top of the rim, and then you jump into the pine trees up on top. It's just a gorgeous drive. You're driving all along just the size of two vehicle road on the side of a cliff. It's
Sure.
great. It's cool.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Well, I love our local. Like you got to throw in Central in there,
Yeah.
especially during springtime. Like it's always that's kind of like the old
Beautiful
kind of
trees.
Yeah, kind of like the old American graffiti type of go cruise Central. And of course I love going up north with tall pines, and aspens up in Flagstaff and Mount Humphreys. But I'll be honest, that Beeline Highway on the way to Payson is probably my favorite, going through like Sycamore and Mesquite Wash. Like once you drop down in all the the rock formations, and we had a fire a few years ago which kind of messed things up a little bit, but it's rebounded pretty good, and particularly if you go during a nice time of year when like all the prickly pears are blooming or the saguaros are blooming, it's pretty badass.
Yeah.
So that's
agree.
me. I know that we all threw out more than one, but it's hard to choose.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, there you have it. We'd love for you to be part of our story, and we'd love to help you in building your next strategy to building wealth in real estate. All you got to do is text the word STORY to 623-AZ-RECON. That's STORY to 623-AZ-RECON.